Guys, welcome to today's video. I'm getting ready to try a brand new to me project, something that I've never done before and something that I think can be a really valuable part of our nursery going forward, but I've got to learn how to do it, and I'm starting it this winter, and that is starting vegetable seeds inside our house. Now, this is not some kind of new revolutionary thing that I'm pioneering or inventing. In fact, quite the contrary. Everything that I'm going to try, I've learned it from watching YouTube videos and from reading articles. So I'm going to show you guys my setup today and kind of show you what our plan is. And as we go forward in the weeks ahead, I'm actually going to show you how I'm doing the seeds and what we're growing and all the rest. But I'm looking forward to showing you what we're going to be doing, and hopefully I can learn something along the way this time. Now, one of the reasons that we want to start vegetable plants this year and grow them and sell them is because, you know, I made some notes last year of just things that we learned, things that we saw, and the very first thing that I wrote down in my notes, us learning our very first year, is have vegetable plants ready on April the 1st. For us, our opening weekend is around April the 1st. And the reason that we did that is because person after person after person stopped by here the very first day we were open, and they were asking for vegetable plants, and that's just not something that we've ever done. We've never thought about it. We've never looked into how to grow them or where to get them, nothing. So all spring last year, we never advertised a bit that we had vegetable plants until I actually just bought some tomatoes just to quick flip them. But even before that, person after person was asking us, hey, do y'all have tomatoes? Do y'all have peppers? And of course, we never did, so we wanted to get ahead of that this year and have that available for our customers and be able to sell as many of them as we can. All right, guys, now we have stepped inside our house, and this is obviously way outside of my element. I mean, I'm used to being outside, and we know how to deal with the cameras and the microphones outside, so if our audio is a little off, y'all just bear with us. But that being said, we've set this up inside our kitchen, and these are some shelves that I have built. Now, you guys know that we have a very small house, and it just got even a lot smaller, but look, this is part of our business right now, and we have got to grow seedlings, and we have to have a place to do it. We don't have a greenhouse. We don't have any other area that's climate controlled, so we just brought it right into our house. So the way that I did this is I built these shelves myself. Don't look at this and think there's anything difficult about this at all. In fact, I built these just to fit my space. So they actually have two separate shelves here, and you can see where they come together in the middle. And they're approximately 7 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. So the reason that I built them the size that I did is so they would fit here and we would still be able to function in our kitchen for a while. So the good thing about that is if you are thinking about starting your own seeds inside, you have to have some sort of setup to do it with. You're not just going to be able to throw them on the floor and, you know, have a lot of success. You're going to have to think through what you're doing. So for us, the shelving is kind of the frame from which we build everything else that goes into this. And if we had a much, much smaller space, then we could build them smaller. Or if we only wanted to start a few plants or a few dozen or a few hundred plants, you can do it much smaller. But there's room here for about 2,500 plants. Now, I don't think we'll have that much success with it, and I don't think our success rate and our germination rates won't be that high, but I mean absolute capacity with this shelving is about 2,500 starts. So you know, there's more steps beyond just germinating them, but that's at least where we're going to start, and it starts with this shelving. Now, I've done a lot of video watching and a lot of reading on how to do this, and I feel pretty confident with my setup for someone who's never done this. And you know, I got a lot of my ideas on how to do this from Living Traditions Homestead. Those guys have some great videos on seed starting, and from My Gardener, M.I. Gardener. He's got a great website on all things growing vegetables, all things gardening, great YouTube channel. But anyway, just kind of compiling different pieces of ideas from different people and then trying to fit it into our context is all that I've done here. So you got to have shelving, and you've got to have grow lights. Now, you don't have to have grow lights just to germinate seeds, but we're not just germinating seeds, we're growing out plants. And you know, there's some debate on what kind of grow lights you should use, or if you should just use some shop lights and adapt them, and there's a lot of discussion about that. All I'm here to tell you is what I have done to give me the best odds of having the most success with this. Everything that I have is not necessary. The scale that I'm doing this on is not necessary. I'm just showing you what I've done. And what I've done is I've bought these 48-inch, I mean, they're 4 feet long, Barino is the brand, grow lights, and I have 2 on each shelf. You can, I'm moving that one so you can see it, but there's one right behind it. Maybe you can see this one a little better. You can see this one, and then there's one behind it. So each one of these shelves has 2 separate grow lights on it, and on each shelf I can get 4 plug trays on here. We're going to be using 72 count trays, so 280 plants roughly per shelf times 10, and that's kind of the math on all of this for us. So the grow lights are easy to set up, they're easy to put together. It just takes a little bit of, just shifting this and that around, but I'm going to give you a closer look at how that works just so you can see it and so it will make sense to you. Now, we're going to have a look at just how these fasten, and I don't mean to insult your intelligence or anything like that, but if you've never built something kind of simple like this and you never really put something together, you might really not know how this works. So what I'm going to do is take these lights one at a time, and again, the brand of these lights is Barino, and I'll actually link these in our Amazon store below, and each one of them is hanging on chains, just these really lightweight chains, and you can find this stuff in your local hardware store in the picture hanging section or in the fasteners section. It's all common hardware store parts. And I just took a chain, I think I bought a 15-foot long chain, and cut this into little pieces. You can just cut them with very simple wire cutters, and cut these into pieces that are about 10 inches long, give or take a little bit. And then I just took I think it's a mug holder, like a cup holder, and which is just a hook. Here, I'll unhook that so you can see it up in there. And all that is just a little hook. And you just screw them in, and by having a place where you can easily hook your chain to your hook, it makes it so you can change the height of your lights really easy as your plants grow, and just as you need to move your lights up and down, it makes it easy to do. So all you do is just take those little hooks and you just push them and screw them right in there where you need them to go, hook the chains on them, and these little brackets on top of the lights where the hooks fasten to the actual light, those come with the lights, and that is a really simple part of the equation here. So you don't want to see some setup like this and think that there's something intimidating about it, because it really couldn't be any easier. And these little hooks right here that fasten the chain to the bracket, I just took a piece of wire and just bent it in the shape of an S. Nothing to it. Now, another piece of the puzzle here is your actual trays and what you're going to actually be sowing your seeds into. And what we're going to be using for ours is these 72 count trays, and I use these for a lot of propagation things, especially things that are smaller plants. But for our seedlings, we're just going to fill this up with our seedling mix, put our seeds in here, and then we will take them and cover them with these little domes. I think they call these propagation domes or humidity lids or whatever you want to call them. And all that does is seal in some humidity there for you. It's kind of a humidity and a moisture control for your seedlings as they germinate, just to make sure that things don't dry out. And one thing also that I'm going to use to aid us even further in germinating our seeds is a heat mat. Another piece of the puzzle for us is we're going to be using these heat mats. And the reason I have these down on the floor is because I'm going to actually be germinating my seeds on the floor. This bottom shelf down here, in order to be able to get the number of shelves I wanted in the space, this bottom shelf is shorter. So I don't have enough room to hang a grow light down here. So all I'm going to be doing is using the floor and the very bottom level down here is to germinate the seeds. And as time goes on, I'll show you guys this some more, but basically what this is, it's like an electric blanket, and you take your seed trays and you sit them on top of the heat mat, and it warms the soil up, and that aids in germination, especially for the plants that I'm going to be growing, which is going to be primarily peppers and tomatoes. So you don't have to have that. You can do it without that, but I think it's going to speed the process up and hopefully give us a higher germination rate. And like I mentioned before, I'm doing everything I can to get the best results that I think I can get. So I've got 2 of these, one for each shelf. They're 48 inches long, and we can get a total of 8 trays at a time on 2 of those. So we're going to be using a heat mat. So then once the seeds germinate on the floor, I mean, as soon as we see them popping through the soil at all, we will move them up, just pick their tray up. I'll take the humidity dome off of them, and I'll put them directly under the grow lights then, and the grow lights will be down on them very tight. So not just help them to not get leggy as they grow. So that's kind of the process that we want to take, and then it's just a matter of the lights doing their work, keeping things watered, and babying them along as they grow. And all the when we move them up, then we'll put more down on the bottom to germinate, and we'll see how all of it goes. So let me show you these lights. So I'm going to turn these lights on, and we've never used grow lights for anything before, so it's going to take some getting used to them for us. But one shelf at a time, and I don't know how that comes through on the camera, but these things are really bright. And we're probably going to take a black curtain or something and just hang up on here just to dampen this light a little bit. But this is how they're going to look when they're all on. The good things about these lights set up the way that we have them set up is you can run as many or as few of them at a time as you want to. I just turned them all on just so you could see them and just kind of see how this is going to work out. We may wind up putting a couple of more down here to take. I don't actually have a light on this shelf and on this shelf down here yet. So we'll just have to see what we want to do with that. But basically, that's our setup, and our goal is to get this thing as filled up with plants as we can, from the heat mats and germination up under the lights, and then dampening them off, or keep them from damping off, growing them out, acclimating them to outside and all that. And we're going to keep you guys updated on the weeks ahead and show you how this is going. It's a project I'm really excited about, and something that I really think we can make some money on in our nursery this spring. So we just wanted to show you our setup today. Like I said, we're going to be showing you much more about our seed starting process and how we're actually going to do all this, but I wanted to just give you kind of the layout and maybe give you an idea of what it's going to look like for us. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to you guys. Thank y'all for watching. I love y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.